Hi folks, Rainy here. Welcome to another episode of Apprentice Time. Today I'm going to be wiring and styling this Colorado Blue Spruce. Now, this is a yamadori tree, so I don't want to be too aggressive with my pruning. It was collected 2 years ago, and since then it's just kind of sat here in its pot, and I've been watching to see when and if it'll regain its vigor. So today I'm going to go through and clean up a lot of dead, weak shoots, stuff that the tree has selected to shed as part of that transition process. Um, in fact, these root chops can be pretty rough on the tree. So as we go through, you'll see that some of those branches have just no tips on them. The needles look old. You can tell nothing's going to come of it. So we're going to snip all that out, take care of any crotch growth, but otherwise, I want to keep as much of this foliage as I can, especially that good, healthy stuff, because it's going to help the tree bounce back and keep the momentum of the vigor that it has. I do know that for a piece of yamadori, this is a fairly humble tree. Um, Most people wouldn't have dug something like this out of the ground because it might not have a lot of character. Before I start styling, though, I'm just going to come through with my scissors and take out some of those dead branches and shoots we were talking about. And wherever um, secondary branches are coming off the main branch, I'll go ahead and pluck needles in that junction to make wiring easier. But I'm not going to be too aggressive with the needle plucking because I don't want to rob this tree of the vigor it's regaining. I want to hold on to as much of that as I can. Looking at the lowest branch coming off of the tree, our side branch here appears to be in good shape with 3 healthy shoots coming off of it. But when we look at the main branch, we only have a couple good shoots to work with. One all the way back here, one here, and one coming out of the crotch here. So I'm going to shorten this branch and remove this so that we can give those 3 shoots the best chance. Our next branch appears to be in even better shape, with just a couple of obviously dead shoots. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Now that those are removed, I'm actually going to remove this long section of this branch because it has no buds whatsoever. And when we put the wire down, I'm going to build out of this. Continuing along, I'm just taking out those dead things, trying to keep as much as I can of the rest of the branches. Now, this branch is a good example. It does have a lot to work with, so I am going to think about what I can do to get things alternating. And it looks like it's actually off to a good start here. So, if that comes out like this, we have our alternating. Keep those. So I'll take that out, that out. Okay, this whole branch looks pretty weak, like it's not going to survive, so that's gone. Just snipping some dead tips here. These branches look pretty good, all considered. That has a bud. Dead. Okay, I've got the tree spun around here so I can keep going. Still just taking out dead shoots. Ooh, this is a nice branch. It's actually giving me some stuff to work with. I'm pretty excited about that. Crotch growth here is not too exciting. That's gone. We have that dead shoot. And then we actually have these two pretty solid, juicy looking buds coming right off this branch. So I'm going to take out the one and leave the other because that might end up being a better branch down the road than this pad here. Okay, because this is a vigorous branch, I am going to think about what I can do to keep things alternating. Just doing some bud selection in a crowded spot. That dead tip. This dead tip. I'm going to take out this weak shoot, let the stronger shoot behind it have a better chance to take off. Looking at this tree for a while, so I had already picked my strongest base and my front. I have it set on some blocks right now, but the tree is not heavy and the pot's kind of unstable, so I'm going to go ahead and tie it down to my work table. I just have some bungee cord here. To get started, I have a nice big piece of 6-gauge copper here. I'm using this because I do want to try and impart some movement in the trunk. Oh, that feels like a root. Drive that puppy into the soil, and then I'm going to come around, try to get good starting coil here. Okay. Remember to grunt or it's not bonsai. That's very important. Gotta get your grunts in. Otherwise, the trees don't know that we're abusing them. I'm sorry, baby. It's not abuse. You know I love you. Just think about how pretty you're gonna look. Okay, so I'm starting to reach the point where I do want to impart some movement. So I'm going to start moving the trunk, holding it in position with one hand, and continuing to wrap with the other. Making sure to get good contact and really just pull it on through. Can hold that. Better question is, can the tree hold that? But she doesn't actually appear to be complaining, so I think we're golden. Now, as I'm doing these bends, I'm listening for any cracks. I'm watching the bark to see if it's separating at all on the opposite side, because that would be my cue to back off. I've been applying 12 gauge copper wire to the two lower branches here. But as I've reached this junction, I'm only going to come up a turn and a half so that ultimately these two uh, branches can be married together with a smaller gauge. It'll be nice and supported when it's time. Continuing up to my next set of branches, I've got more 12 gauge. And when I'm cutting 12 gauge, I try to stop and think about how much is actually needed. Because wire, especially copper wire, does get pricey pretty quick. So I like to make sure I'm actually using the correct amount. So I look at the physical distance between any two branches. So, like if a branch, it looks like it's about 10 inches, and the one I'm connecting to is about 6, I might go for 18, 19 inches because I'm trying to waste less copper. It is not the cheapest stuff to go burning through willy-nilly. Okay, so I've decided to go ahead and do this guy wire before I continue wiring up the tree. Now that all the structural wire is on, I'm going to take a break, water myself, go water all the trees, and then come back and do the detail wiring. I'll see you guys in just a moment. Great. Well, I am all done wiring this tree. Before I call it for the day, though, I think I'm going to grab my deadwood tools and just strip the bark on these gens. Okay, I have my right-handed scoop here. And I'm very gently just stripping away the bark. Trying to be careful not to go too deep, because we don't want it to look like a tool has been through here. Just nice and surface level. We want to get just past that cambium and expose this nice shiny wood underneath. Getting the next one. Now, I would say these gin are nothing special. I mean, obviously they're being added after the tree was collected, so they don't have that sense of age. But really, I'm just working with it because it's the only deadwood that this tree has. Just going to use my little tool here. Break that off. And I'm going to see if I can, because I don't have the same working space on this little nub that I did on the other two gen. Now, and I'm going to say especially with the camera in my face, I don't have the maneuverability to successfully do this. So I'm going to try to clean it up and just call it. Well, and as I say that, successfully broke through that fiber. So maybe perseverance is the way. Last night I took a pause when I thought I was finished with this tree because I know that bonsai is a test of endurance, and I know the longer I work on a tree, the more clumsy I get with my hands, and that some of my design decisions aren't the strongest at the end of a long day. So, something I picked up working here at First Branch is waiting until the morning to come through and put the finishing touches on a tree. And instead of being right up here in the tree's personal space, I'm actually going to take a step back and make my tweaks from the view of the camera instead of what I think looks good and these 2-3 feet away from the tree. Something I really want to try and work on today is cleaning up that left side a little bit and getting some of those lazy curves out of the branches. So I'm going to kick those down, try to get a more acute angle, and see if that makes the left side feel nicer. And this is one of the many reasons I was trying to be mindful of work hardening my copper, because the more I would have tweaked yesterday, the less I can do today. All right, with that, I'm going to call this tree done. If you found this video helpful and informative, I'd really appreciate it if you could click the bell icon below so that you can be notified when future videos come out. If you do work on a yamadori tree this year, just be mindful to pay attention to the tree's health and vigor. You can't always work these as aggressively as you could something from a nursery. Really, we're a little more shoehorned into working with what the tree has and developing from that. Because especially on older trees, you're going to be very, very hard pressed to get any back budding or new branches coming off the trunk, which is why I was so conservative with the cuts that I did make. If you have any ideas for something you would like covered in a future video, please let me know in the comments. If this video gets to 50 likes, I think I'm going to go do a live stream and do a bunch of deadwood work and talk you guys through that process. I do have some exciting plans as the channel continues to develop and grow, but for now, I'm going to start with a challenge for you, the viewers. If this video gets 25 likes, I will go live and do a bunch of deadwood work and talk you guys through the process that I'm using. I will most likely focus on hand tools, but I promise to bust out a couple of power tools. Okay, I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.